Yeesh. Yeesh.
Do a 2 and just drop it to 500,000. How's everybody?
Close to ready.
Close to ready? Okay. We'll have to be waiting just a little bit because John said he'll be a few minutes late. So just luck he'll have a last minute customer.
That's usually the way it goes.
Scott took the week off, so I doubt very seriously Scott's going to be here.
He had said maybe,
Maybe.
Yeah.
so who knows?
When did he put in for this week off?
I mean, gave us it at least. I think he requested it like a couple weeks ago.
At least a couple.
Yeah.
I knew he'd asked for something, but I couldn't remember.
He's got to get that house.
You better get on that pretty quick.
That's what.
That wood's going to be so twisted, he'll be burning and flaming. And
He's also he's already lost a lot of ground, I think, with all the wind and everything. But he was going to come to the council meeting, but he panicked when he heard how much snow we're supposed to get. So he's trying to get some stuff done.
The 3rd. Is it supposed to be like tonight or something?
Yeah, it's no, I know at about 9 o'clock this morning, you couldn't hardly stay on the road down around Cheyenne. So it's gone south of us, and it's more to the east of us. That's where it's going to be the worst, but it depends on whether it backs up or not. We could see a couple inches, or we could see 18. I'm hoping for maybe nothing to a couple.
Do you know any projects?
So we don't have to spend an extra, we don't need 18 and have to spend another 20,000 on removing it.
No, when they had that cleanup week, the principal said that over one day or something. That
Hey, I bet it would.
we could recommend that maybe.
If I had a hand on that control, I would be.
I mean, putting together a sign on it.
The last warning I read said 4 to 8 inches.
I
Something
We all
that
know it's
maybe-
I asked Delgarn about 1 o'clock today. I said, "What's your?" It's all those different reports all the time, and he said right now what he's seeing for us is, he said that what they're trying to say is us maybe 2 to 3 maybe, but who knows?
Yikes.
Every once in a while they get it right.
I'll let everybody know inside your budget binders on the inside cover, there's an agenda. And if we can at least get through allocations tonight, that would be great. I'm still waiting on numbers on major projects, so that might be for the next session. You want to be heard, Lynn?
Huh?
You don't want to be heard?
I didn't know it was on.
We're going to stream it. They got to be able to hear us,
Okay.
or they're going to have to become lip readers.
Go with that.
Just in case.
Just in case. That was mine.
Jeez, I'm not going to listen to mine.
Turn both of mine off.
I just leave mine home.
We have to use that reserve because we never use that. You never answer me for the Just have to be for approval.
No, I told you this on that one.
Yep. Right. Did Katie say, so they're supposed to submit for reimbursement for the 4,000, or did we just cut them a check for 4,000?
We just cut them a check.
just so all you guys know, I had a phone call last night about the company that does the recycling bins down in Douglas. They're going to be doing a deal there, and they're going to bring one in, and we're going to set it over here right by the old barber shop, and the money that they bring in the next short, I don't know, it's not a long period of time, they're going to leave them there, but the money they make off of them in the next month, I think will be given to the Boys and Girls Club in Glenrock and in Douglas. So I told them they could set the recycle bin there, so when you see it, it'll be about the size, they said about the size of a Suburban.
I wonder if it'll be
aluminum,
set.
isn't it?
What?
It's all aluminum,
There's
isn't
different
it?
compartments.
I think there's compartments you can separate. I'm not sure what they're exactly going to be collecting, but it'll be on the thing. But I told them they could set one there and see if it helps with
I think that would be
making
great.
some money. So
Hey, long time no see.
no late customers.
I told him to get out.
Dude,
I said, I got some money to
you wouldn't
spend.
do that.
I got money to spend. Yeah, I'm away.
You got money to spend. Okay. Well, we might as well get started with everybody looked at the one that was just inside the jacket, the work session. We might as well get started with allocation requests.
Mr. Mayor, since Mr. Purple is here from the Golf Club, can we address this first so he doesn't need to sit here for the whole meeting?
Do you know if you're going to see anybody else, or
I haven't heard.
haven't heard a
anybody.
word? Okay. It would be number 7, Glenrock Golf Club, requesting.
That's actually tab number 18 in the book. My apologies for not numbering them accordingly.
Mine is numbered.
So you can see what they're asking for.
It's 18 right here.
Correct. It's,
Well,
Number 18 in mine.
yeah.
yep, it's 18 in mine. Mine was all messed up last year. I had to
Here
search.
it's not. So this year on their proposal, they're requesting $20,000 for maintenance improvements, and last year they requested 18.
Didn't they come back during the year and we gave them some more other money for
We helped
their
with the
fuel thing?
Fuel tanks, yeah.
What you gave us last year was actually $15,000 with an additional $3,000 designated for fuel tanks.
Yeah, I know I couldn't remember what the totals were, but I know you came back and asked we helped out with the fuel tank thing. So
Absolutely.
So specifically, how much are you asking for, Joe?
Pardon?
20,000.
20,000.
You are assistance
And
in funding. Assistance in funding of $20,000. All right, how many carts are you going to buy?
We're going to buy 10 carts.
And that'll take you up to how many altogether?
That will take us up to 19. That'll take us up to 29.
And how much money do the carts bring into the golf course? How important are they for the income?
They're extremely important. The carts are the money maker for the golf course. They get rented out multiple times a day. It's a bigger money maker than green fees or beer or anything else. Carts are probably the single most important thing we have.
Bigger than beer is big, Joe.
It is, yes.
And what's everybody's feeling?
Well, my thought on this, on what the other people feel, if we're going to be increasing one of these, we maybe need to be increasing more of them. Can we afford to do this kind of thing?
Well, it's, with normally, what is it, Wham tells us to look back 2 years to what you should kind of base your budget on. 2 years ago, we were raking in the cash. So if you look at in that first section, you can see in the first one have the revenue. Kelly put in quite a few
before the
graphs of
index,
what's
there's
that?
some- Right after the index, before tab 1, there's some revenue charts. And if anybody would like to guess what sales tax is going to do, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, somebody got a crystal ball, get on it.
And again, we'll gratefully appreciate anything you're willing and can afford to give us. We just feel that the golf course is extremely important to the town, and we are really busting our butts on trying to become much more self-sufficient. that's been my whole goal since I've been on the board and brought along. My goal within the next 3 years is to actually have that golf course open year-round. As far as that, I mean by the clubhouse. My goal is to get it fully insulated, get 2 good golf simulators in there so that we can actually have tee times and leagues in the wintertime, so we can be open all year round instead of right now we're open 6 months, and 6 months we're just spending money with no income. We're going to really try hard to get that in place. I don't know if we can do it or not, but that's the goal, is to make that income come in year-round and be able to employ. We employ a lot of older people that are on Social Security, and this is their only source of income. And to be able to do that year-round for them would be remarkable. But it would really help the club. And again, if we could do this and do it correctly, I feel within 3 years we'd be coming to the council and going, gosh, guys, could we have $2,500 this year?
Will you pay us?
Well, I don't know as we could do that as a nonprofit, but
Joe, how long do you have to get these golf carts paid for? Is this on a time basis?
we have 5 years to pay these off. What we did with this, and I kind of got to separate myself from this. My wife actually is loaning the golf course the money for the 10 carts, $48,300 over the course of 5 years. The payment plans for the golf carts is we only pay during the 6 months we're open. The other 6 months we don't pay, and we don't pay any interest during that time because we can't.
That's a hell of a loan.
Pretty good deal.
It's a good deal.
I'm coming to you for a bank.
Need a car. Need a car.
Again, that's between my wife and the golf course. I kind of have to
I guess I'll
separate
come talk
myself
to your
from
wife then. Come talk to the boss.
Yeah.
There you go.
So that's kind of how we're dealing with the carts on that front.
Hey, Joe, have you guys ever thought about, and I don't know what the expense is, I don't know, but preserving our greens, and you can improve the greens by the coverings during the wintertime?
We certainly have given that a lot of thought. The problem with covering the greens in the wintertime is you have to water them.
Okay.
So if you're going to do that, you need an additional deep water source to each one of them that they can control in time so it doesn't freeze and break it.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I don't know the thing on it, but
Yeah,
I
because
always know
if
that
you
it-
cover them, it helps a lot, but it can actually burn them if you don't continue to water them.
I see.
Typically what a lot of golf courses do is they have a deep pond, and they put a pump in that pond before it freezes over. They pump out of that into a truck and then water the greens out of the truck. Or some golf courses are lucky enough to actually have city water 6 feet down, hook up a sprinkler, and water the greens.
And unfortunately, there are places that's cold in the winter, but not cold like us, and they don't have to do that. They
Correct.
Cover them and not freeze. But okay, that's just a question I had.
Well, I'm just going to say I think we can probably stand their request of 20.
When you get your carts.
That's a good question, John. Being a Yamaha guy yourself, I talked to our rep 2 days ago, and in theory, the 15th of May is when we get our carts. That's the theory. Now, here's the kicker with that. There are other golf courses that have sold their golf carts completely, counting on the new ones coming in, or have been on lease programs, and the lease program is over. They have no carts. So priority-wise, who's going to get the carts first? We'll get them eventually, but when, I don't know.
Yeah, it sucks. Thanks, Joe.
Absolutely.
Does everybody else feel? Stick with the 20 for now?
I think that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
That's good to me.
Would you like me here as a rec board representative also?
If you'd like to be.
Sure.
Change hats?
Yes.
Flip the hat around.
Tab 19, next one over.
One goes up to 13.
Let's go over to tab 19.
Go to tab 19 for the rec center.
19.
Gotcha.
Joe is also on the rec board.
Oh,
Community recreation.
should be.
They're asking for 12 for maintenance and utilities, and then an additional 25 for help with their wall construction costs for the parapets. which totals 37,000, which is the same as last year.
How'd your roofing project go for recover?
It went really well. We did, with that large amount of snow we got, we did have 3 small leaks. They came back in immediately and fixed those. And they show a great willingness to come back if necessary, because they were welding that roof when it was like 10 below. And I was
Yeah, I know. I was watching them do that when they came in and got started. It's like, you boys are brave.
yes. But so far, it seems to be working, but
Okay.
they're responding to that immediately.
Joe, tell the rest of the council, if you would, about some of the projects that's going on inside,
Okay.
like the locker room.
Right now, what we're doing is we're building 2 small locker rooms, one for men, one for women. They're going to have showers in them. They'll have actual lockers and stuff in there, so you can actually work out and then go take a shower. Imagine that. Wouldn't that be kind of nice? We're also putting in a tanning bed. We put in a couple of brand new ping pong tables for the kids. We're getting a new pool table. We're putting in a sauna. It's going to be a dry sauna, but we're putting in a sauna. And we're going to go ahead and recarpet the entire facility that has carpet on it right now. We're just trying to update it, upgrade it, make it more appealing to the public, and make more options for everybody that comes in.
There's a few pieces of equipment that need to be upgraded in that weight room.
Yes,
Ever get to that?
yes.
Joe, are all of these things that you're hoping to provide, are all those free of charge to the public, or are they going to have to have a membership? How's that going to work?
Okay, everything is, I shouldn't say that. Most things are still going to be free of charge. If you want to use the tanning bed, you're going to have to pay. Okay, if you want to use the sauna, it's still free. If you want to do a class, you're going to have to pay for the class. Ping pong tables are free. The pool tables are going to be free. We're trying to encourage kids to come in and not have to work with beat up old equipment and have some decent things that they can, have fun with.
Now, what are you going to do to these walls? Are you going to completely remove those walls and rebuild them like they are? What's the plan for them?
We're trying to get that figured out, Margaret. The problem is we've called construction people in to get their input and advice on the parapet walls. And as soon as we get someone in there that looks at it, they go, okay, yeah, and then they go away and never come back. So it's kind of I think it's going to be a huge
I think
challenge.
they're looking at it, it's more of a challenge than what everybody looks at, think, oh, yeah.
Correct.
Tackle this.
It's not going to be an easy thing to do, so I can't give you an answer on that. We're trying to figure that out.
They surely do need it. They're
They
really
do.
in bad shape.
Yes.
Exterior and interior both.
Yes, absolutely, and we're trying to get that figured out.
Good luck.
Yes. And if any of you guys have any ideas on how to lessen some of that green space out there, I would love that input. Anytime.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I think the Rock District is still a very large and important part of our community, that we help them with that, and I think they're asking for the same as last year. Let's stick with that for now.
I agree with that. It's an important part of the community.
Very important part of the
Certainly
We got to,
helps
keep upgrading
children.
if we can there.
And the fact that most of it is free to the public is amazing, so, yes.
I think these are great additions. Great
And
choices.
one other thing we're going to do too is across the way here, we're going to put in some sort of a pergola or something, because everybody likes to get under the trees and have lunch over here. So we're going to expand that area a little bit, make a little more seating, a little more
Yeah, that'd be good.
something, and a little shelter from the sun.
That'd be good.
So
Good plans.
I think we should do it. See where we're at.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that will, right now, unless we see something drastic, I believe we will stick with the 37.
anything else?
Everybody else okay with that? Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you for your time, Jeff.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks for the update on what you're doing in the building.
I think we'll just keep going and go to tab 20, the next one. Human Resource Council. They're requesting $14,000 for operations, and we did do the same last year.
Well, if we've honored requests of 2 others, it seems logical that we honor the request of this one.
Do we know how well that's working, or any feedback from them at all?
What kind of communication do we have from them?
With who?
With the,
Just with the Human Resource Council? I think that they always offer to come in and talk to us if we want them to, but I tell people, that we usually only get 1 or 2 groups that come in. But
I wouldn't say that we've had a lot, but we have had 2 or 3 people come in to, with assistance from them to pay their utility bills.
okay.
yes,
I knew that was part of it. That's why I was wondering if that. We're
I
seeing
wouldn't
some-
say we've had a bunch, but
Bunch.
when they have helped, they've helped a lot.
yeah.
Okay.
And this is the
Do you see
program.
their income?
Yeah, it's to help them out.
They get $75,000 from the state. The CARES Fund gave them $105,000. Wyoming Community Foundation gave them $45,000.
Yeah, we've had that discussion last year about how much.
I mean, this $250,000 in funding.
Yeah.
Is there a budget attached to this?
There is.
But you need to remember that this is not just a Glenrock function. They serve Douglas and all of Converse County.
Total Converse County, Glenrock,
We
Douglas, Rolling Hills.
are getting a fairly small amount of that money actually back into our community.
Just wonder the amount of advertising or whatever, that if they're actually letting people know that the funds are available for what, for different things, whether or not just how it gets out to the public.
I'm not sure how Amy does all of her advertising. I do know that right now she has a waiting list to try to get into the certified nursing assistants for people that want into that program, and she can only handle so many times. And she does want to put one of those, a complete system here in Glenrock, where people can receive that training and get that certification. And this type of thing through this program costs people nothing. And exactly what the qualification is to get it, it's a low-income program. I don't know the specific
So
qualification.
there's no, who accept their tuition for that?
The tuition comes out of the grant money that she gets.
But anybody qualifies to take that
This
thing?
is to serve low-income people, John, people that are really in pretty bad shape. Unfortunately, we do have quite a few of those.
Well, I understand, but
This program at the college in Douglas right now costs a student approximately $2,000.
Did you say that almost all of what was the number of people that went through the program that were placed in jobs?
19 went through the program, and 17 are currently working in healthcare in Douglas. And there's also opportunities through the grant programs that Amy gets for these people to receive more program to increase their ability to get a better income and to have a better way of life. And as far as a large amount, I can't speak for what's spoken in or what's spent in Douglas.
Sure.
Or Converse County.
Now, is this a program, Margaret, that pays your, water bill and electric bill if you
That's
don't
right.
have it?
That's right. If they pay, If you need to go a job application and you can't afford to buy gas to go, they'll pay gas for you to go to a job interview. If you can't go to drive your car because you have no insurance, they'll give you some temporary help with your insurance to get you out so you can get to a job and to pay your own bills. There have been a number of dental claims through this program of people who need dental work and just absolutely cannot in any way, shape, or form afford it. And they've tried to help them with dental care. I'm not aware of many actual medical bills being paid with it, but I know they pay quite a number of dental bills for people. And basically, I think most of this $14,000 is coming back into Glenrock that we spend out, comes back into our community.
How are people made aware of this? I mean,
All of
you didn't know.
all of the welfare systems or all of the assistance programs have a loop of communication. So if people go to any of these assistance, and I assume if even go to the police department, that they have the knowledge to send. You don't know anything about this,
No, ma'am.
to refer people to this program.
I'd love to. I'm going to ask you more questions afterwards for sure. So
Just
that
to
we can
see,
make
because there's children have received help through this if they don't have food. Of course, the food bank is covering a large part of that now, but not all of it. But basically, the idea of the program is to give people a hand up to try to get them independent, and they do not want to keep people in this program. I think there's a time limit. I think it's 3 to 6 months. They also have been paying some housing for families that are going to be evicted, to see if they can't get stable enough to work on their own.
Is this part of like that block grant?
Yeah.
Bob Schmurley was part of?
Yes, that was
We have
Bob's.
We have not received any updated information since he left, so.
Since he left, I'll try to see that is corrected for you. Because you probably have access to people that
absolutely, it would be wonderful for us to have. I
that
didn't realize
need
it
this
was
kind of help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You-
I have no problem with giving the Human Resource Council $14,000. That's my opinion. But I'm just saying, we're going to start through this, but if things start looking in the next month or so too, that we're going further down, there's going to be some cuts that are going to have to be made somewhere.
Well, Bruce, I kind of feel that if we can support a golf course, which is definitely a very valuable asset to our community, but that the people that use the golf course probably aren't homeless or
No,
basically unable to attend to their dental needs or to get to a job interview. The people in this program, they are.
And we do refer them in the water department, if somebody, especially the ones that are like at a 90-day or 60-day, when we contact them, give them a list of different resources that they can contact. And we have had several come in with checks from there, so.
And they're pretty good about not just, I mean, you can't just show up and say, I need help with my
No.
water bill. They make you show what your circumstances are, and I think they offer help
That's right.
budgeting, and
Classes that you have to participate in to be eligible
and I think
for
they're
the
also
services.
really they're very frugal with their own spending. Like she's the one that came and got free file
Just
cabinets
file
from you instead of spending money on a file cabinet.
it's a buying file cabinet.
And it's
And I was
not-
happy to give those away, because they were about to get hauled to the dump, and when you told me that she needed filing cabinets, I was more than happy to give her
And you-
two four-drawer file
It's
cabinets.
in her office today, full of materials.
Oh, I'm sure.
And she has a locking system on it because many of her documents are people that, nobody needs to go to riffle through house and
Sure.
income is, what the problems are in that area.
I'm going to say, as far as I'm concerned, I'm saying yes on the 14,000 at this time.
Well, you know my favorite.
I agree.
I mean, that's fine, but their numbers don't add up at all here.
No,
This is not.
Well, John, I would be willing to ask Amy if you would like her to come up and explain where her money is spent.
Well, she's got her income, and then her budget. The numbers aren't jiving.
She's totally on grants. If her
I
grants
know.
are cut off and she's out of money.
No.
true, she's,
If we did it last year, let's do it this year.
I'm okay with it right now unless we start if we start having to make cuts, first place we're going to go will be allocation. Okay, next one is that under tab 21,
Yes.
Kelly?
Wyoming
That is-
Child and Family Development.
Wyoming, yeah, that's the Wyoming Child and Family Development.
And I will
The ones
say-
out here by the clinic.
This year and last year, they requested 1,000, and both years we bumped it to 2,000.
They don't ask for a lot, and they do a lot for our young,
They are.
0 to 5-year-olds for development and getting them ready for school and everything else. It's a good program.
I think we ought to do the 2,000 with those guys.
I do too. We're talking about young children.
Pretty cheap money.
Yeah,
We
young
put,
children.
they had trouble with that building. We put extra money into them, what was it, 4 years ago? 3 or 4 years ago?
About
Help them
4,
to stabilize their building.
Yep.
Or they were just about they were going to have to tear it down if they didn't get it stabilized. So,
Going to do the 2,000 again?
yeah, right now I'd say the 2. That's pretty, it's just about the cheapest budget we've got out on there. Okay, let's move on to GEDC. Who's this guy that signs that?
I don't know.
Oh, no, that guy's
He's got a rotten signature, doesn't he?
Yeah.
They're requesting 4,000 again for operations, which is the same as last year. And I know they're working on standalone website right now, which would be part of it, and also business after hours, once everything gets rolling again.
I have no problem with that for GEDC.
John can probably speak better than I can, because I don't go to those meetings.
To be honest with you, we need people. We need volunteers. But yeah, website. It's in development.
I think it's almost ready to,
Almost ready. And then we did plan some events this year. 3 or 4, I don't remember. Some after-hours events.
So, John, this has potential for bringing businesses into our community?
Not so much bringing business into the community, but making the community aware of
The
the
businesses we have?
businesses and what they offer in the community.
We certainly need to do that too, to promote our
It's for-
businesses.
Looking for business and business retention.
Yeah.
Keep it.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
That sounds good to me.
Next one is the Hope Center.
Yep. They're asking for 20,000 for operations, fuel, and outreach. Same request as last year, and you do need to be aware that we do offer them, or we do provide office space
Yes.
over in the Bronco building.
Is it manned? Oh, we
I don't know their hours over there, if it's on an as-needed or if it's part-time. I don't think it's full-time, though.
It's a Douglas Glenrock organization too, I believe.
Right.
It serves both
Yeah, they
communities.
serve both, there's offices in both communities. We gave them space for up here to be able to have an office up here, free space in the Lincoln building.
I've been to some of their functions and things. I think it's a great organization. I really do. They do a lot.
For people that need
You guys
help.
help them a lot, don't you?
Yep, so we would refer people to them for assistance. And to speak, I'm not sure their exact hours. I know that they're not there every day of the week. There are certain days and times that you staff it with someone.
I thought they were every other day or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. I know it's not every day, but
Do you know if they have on site someone in Glenrock that could be called if they had an emergency
so
system?
they do have a couple of members that do live locally, but their rotation kind of goes between their advocates, so that you could get somebody from Douglas, maybe is the one on call, but they do have a 24-hour response line.
I mean, you may not get beat up on the day there's someone down there.
Yeah. Well, they usually call us first, and then we get them.
Communicate with them. Yeah.
Yep.
That's going to be primarily
Yep.
up here.
And they did just recently hire somebody to primarily be over here, gentlemen.
All the time. Good.
I don't know if it's going to be full-time, but like I said, to man
More
those hours-
time.
Those hours, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I think they're looking at trying to boost that time.
Good.
I think it's a good outreach. I really do.
Yep, I think they do great things.
I don't know if you want to keep that same money or not, but
And
I
so
don't,
everybody knows that the letter signed by Amy Needham, she's the one that was at the council meeting the other night.
does anybody?
They do have a new
I
director.
was wondering if there's,
She sent me a new letter, but I didn't get it copied to get in the books.
Do you remember what her name is?
you remember?
Rochelle.
Rochelle?
First name is Rochelle. Honestly, I'd have to check into her last name.
Okay.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
So they have someone to man their center again there, up, or at least someone.
Back in this
responsible.
information, it looks like they said they've hired one person for here and one person for down in Douglas, and it looks like 5 days a week. That's what they're saying, in an on-call emergency. Good. Yep. So right now, I'm okay with that. It depends on what everybody else thinks.
That's fine, I think it's a good thing.
Let's keep it rolling.
More people that
Keep
need help.
moving. We got a long ways to go.
John said, we're
Spending that
spending
money.
money.
It's just,
Money.
Ching,
just
ching.
yeah, just keep people buying things here for sales tax.
Maybe Joe will
That
come
sales
back and
tax
give
up.
us a good deal.
Yeah.
But you know, some of this, a lot of folks are not requesting more. A lot of times we get more. They
We've
know
got a few that
they know
are
how the
coming
past
up a
year's
little
been.
bit, yeah, but most of them are
Being kind.
Glenrock Chamber of Commerce is next. They're requesting 10. They requested 10 last year. Last year we reduced it to 7,500.
And they are manning the office every day for so many hours, correct?
Thursdays, I think she's not.
Thursdays we're not in there.
They're not in on Thursdays, but most of their time they are there.
Yeah, like 10 to 2.
4 hours a day when they're there.
They have some good community events that they're sponsoring. That nobody else is gonna do. If someone doesn't pick these up and be willing to sponsor them, they'll probably just fall by the wayside.
We have a website that's going to be, it's in the process that we're going to help try to promote and introduce everybody that's part of the chamber, their businesses, and have links to those on the websites. And, so that we can get out to more business and try to promote the members biannually or quarterly, depending on their status with the chamber. So we're going to do more to promote business here.
That's good. This is a difficult thing to try to promote.
And you
So
added
it takes a
another
lot of-
fall too, right?
A lot of work.
Last year there was some concerns
yeah.
about how it was running, and there were some problems, and I think they've ironed part of it, and I think you've improved over the last year what they're doing for them. So,
We have some fresh people on there too. So,
yeah, I'm just looking at the number of people that you have on the board now. It was you're like last year it was like there was only like 4 names at the most. So, yeah, I think they're going in the right direction, guys. So I would say let's go to 10 this year. If you want to stay at 75, that's fine.
Keep it
They're-
rolling.
Their event says it costs them $15,000 to put on these events, and they're asking for $10,000. So that's
Well, let's go back to the 10 if we can.
no, they aren't asking for 15. I just say their events estimate is
Yeah.
15,000,
Yeah.
and they're asking for 10. So I think that's a pretty reasonable.
I'll go for 10 right now, unless we need to shave something.
Moving on.
So which tab do we need to go back to?
Oh, sorry. That was all out of whack. Let's go to 12. We'll start at the beginning and go back through.
Yeah, Larry. Humane Society.
One, yes. Last year they asked for 1,000. Again this year. The only thing I got from them is this letter that came today. So technically late and incomplete. And they are the ones that do the spay and neuter program, but they do release the animals again.
They're trapping. They're coming in and they trap wild cats. They neuter them, do whatever work on them, and turn them loose again.
We had a big discussion on that last year.
Yeah, and in the past, they have a kennel and stuff down there, and they've never allowed us to use for us to transport and leave an animal there. So,
Do we have any idea?
and I don't know that they even ask people to put their traps on people's properties to trap these cats.
Bruce, we have any idea how many animals they serviced last year?
I do not know.
No clue.
As far as how many they took in last year,
Or
or
how many
they
they actually spayed or neutered or whatever this.
I'm not aware of them actually being here last year. I know that it was a couple of years ago they did come over and do that, and I was actually just speaking with our animal control officer the other day, and he said that he still does see a couple of the cats that went through that program, because I'm not sure what they marked them with, but they did mark them somehow so that he could see. He said there's only a couple of cats that he's still seen around.
Who does that? Who does the actual, a veterinarian? Is
Yep,
this
a
a
veterinarian.
Is it veterinarian?
Actually, they're actually using Ken's in them out here at Crossroad Vets.
Are they giving him a cut, or is this a full?
I think she does I think she gives them a special price on that. It's their marking is they tip, the ear, they cut off part of the ear.
Well, I'm not seeing a whole lot going on here, I don't think.
That's what he's seen that's still around. I know that they did more than that, but we were talking about that the other day, and he just did happen to mention that there are still a couple of cats that he has seen that went through that program and are still around.
Did Stewart seem to indicate that he felt this was successful or helping any?
It's a tough question to answer. There's a lot of research out there on that program. We did have this conversation just the other day, and it didn't seem like there was a real strong argument one way or the other as far as whether that particular system seems to be extremely helpful or more neutral. There wasn't a huge. I asked him to do a little bit of research and look into some other places that have tried it to see if that is something that's been impactful or not, and there wasn't really a good argument one way or the other.
Do you know if they have it in Casper or Douglas or any other communities around here?
So Laramie Peaks is obviously the Humane Society is trying to do that over in Douglas. Same program they're doing the same thing over there as far as how it does or doesn't go. I can't attest to that, no.
Well, personally, I'm against the spay and neuter the cats and turning them loose. I'm against that. I'm for helping people spay their dogs or their personal pets, but not these feral cats and turn them loose. People that can't afford, I'm for that.
There's still wild cats that are still
And
carrying diseases.
if you look at all the rest of them you're looking at, we've asked for financials and information of what they're doing, and we get one
piece of paper
that doesn't tell us anything.
Can we deny this on grounds of not sufficient evidence being presented?
We'll just.
Seen a lot from them, I don't think.
I don't know that it's worth it for us. If they would come and give us, you look at who's on their board and stuff or whatever, but I would think if they would give us some more information, I would be more intent to maybe give them some money. But right now, when I get this letter right here, I'm not. Because I know they're funded and they have a fairly good budget down there, so.
And I do know that they have done that program in the past with the assistance.
They've
They
done it
offered
forever.
like do 50% off kind of a thing, and I believe that was funded through them. So, I by no means I'm tied to that board, but maybe that is something if they would have given us more information.
So are we no on this one?
Yeah, like how many from Glenrock? How many from dogs?
Give us some information.
Yeah.
Would you like me to, I could reach out to them, we could table this one until the next meeting.
Yeah, if you want to, that's fine. If we can get some information that is vital to this and, for what they're doing, but with that right now, I would say no.
They reach out, and then Kelly, if they don't, and then we can.
Okay.
That's a good plan, to give them a chance to give us that information.
So we'll wait on that one. The next one is the Paleon Foundation.
What numbers?
They actually reduced their request. Last year was 10,000. This year they're wanting to do 5,500, and it's tagged to replace the old lighting in their work areas. And I did visit with Stuart about that because I think there could be some monies available through Rocky Mountain Power, depending.
There's
on
some
the
incentives.
fixtures.
If you had to help bring their costs down, there's some incentives on that because we've done that.
We do our shops.
Yeah,
our-
Public Works and
in here.
some of the lighting here, we got some pretty good rebates off of it for going to LED lighting, energy saving. Like Mountain Power's good
I'd
at
like
that.
to visit with him about that and do the incentive.
And the other thing is, it is our building, so any
Yeah,
improvements that they're doing are a benefit to us. in the
Yes,
long
it
run,
is.
too.
They're asking,
So
what,
then
55?
they're asking for 5,500, so I'm okay with that, and if maybe they can get a little more lighting done with that Rocky Mountain Power
You'll talk to Stuart.
stuff.
I'll talk to Stu with that.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yep.
Child Advocacy Project.
And they're requesting 2,000, and that's the same as they asked for last year. They are based out of Casper. Beyond that, I don't know a whole lot about their program.
Are they a cross program with the Hope Center? It says they have victim advocacy programs, and I thought that's kind of what the Hope Center did.
How much were they asking for again?
$2,000.
This guy says here they got like $380,000 in the bank.
They got bank.
Got 1.1 million in assets. Got investments. I don't know what an RBC investment is. It's almost $250,000 in one.
RBC is an investment firm.
Oh, okay.
Where their reserves are being invested, trying to make a little money on
Sure.
them, which is pretty poor everywhere.
It's a little.
Yeah.
And the word little is correct.
$318,000 is a pretty good
Yeah,
yearly
I guess
income.
something that's got 1.5 million between checking and assets. That's chunk of change, right?
Do we want to have Kelly contact them again to see if they have want to come and give any verification for why they need this money? What do you
I
think?
guess my big question is, do they do anything with our kids here?
I'd be.
I was here that they did some forensic interviews. They did some forensic interviews here in Converse County.
In Converse County, which could be Douglas.
So in the past, if I may, they have done forensic interviews for us with our local residential children. Recently, we had a number of deputies with the sheriff's office who were trained in this forensic interviewing. So we have been using them as opposed to the Casper office. But I will tell you that in the past, they've been really great for cases with kids. I think the program is really great. I'm not sure on how it is that they are or aren't charging us at this point. I could look into that.
So why are they coming from Casper down to our
So
county?
they don't come from Casper to us. What the program is they're specially trained individuals who interview children. They're trained to do that in a, specific manner. It's different than, say, a regular police interview with children, right?
Basically, they're just based out of there.
So they're based out of
They
Casper.
come
Their
to you.
office is in Casper. They don't come
Use
to us.
us.
Actually, we go to them.
You contact
So
them when you
for
need
their
them.
service.
Contact them, and we can set up an appointment there, and then we would meet.
What do they charge you? Do they have a pretty stiff
Like I
fee?
said, in the past, it hasn't been a charge thing. I know, though, that because we did recently get some certified individuals within the county, there was question as to them actually beginning to charge. Because I believe, my understanding was that the county also funded or paid them something, that they had ceased doing that because we had local people to be able to provide that service. I would have to contact them and ask them if that is the case for us as well. But if we were going to be funding them, I see in here that it says that there are no charge to law enforcement agencies or families. That's what it says here in the letter. But I would be happy to follow up and verify that.
It's a tough one.
Well, I will tentatively say yes unless we find out.
May I ask you one more question? What are your feelings on the effectiveness of this program and the need for it in our community?
So because these other individuals locally were only recently certified, Councilwoman Dunn, I would have to touch base with them and see if they would still allow us free access. If they were going to start charging us, then we can just continue to use local assets for free of charge versus paying them and doing it. But if we do still, if we would still be able to have access to them and utilize their services, then I would say it's a great program and we should continue to support it. $2,000 is not much when it comes to the cases that they help us with.
More really tough cases.
Absolutely. Yes,
If it was over last year, it looks like they said they had 7 interviews were conducted for children from Converse County. We don't know where, but they are servicing Converse County.
Well, should we stick with them for another year?
I would say tentatively do that. You might see just
I can
if
follow up
there's
with
going
them.
to start being a charge or not.
Absolutely.
Colder
I'll
would be
follow
great.
up with
And
them.
then we have new certified folks in our county now that'll
They will, so they're through the sheriff's office right now, as well as the county attorney's office. They've got an investigator that's also certified to be able to do it. They are more than happy to help us out with their services. They've got a facility now in the new Justice Department that they utilize for that. So we, just take our victim over there and they complete that process there. So it's a pretty good facility. I would like to be able to look into getting our department, somebody certified to conduct those interviews as well, but trainings are kind of hard to come by, and it's not a cheap training either. So, but great service. These guys are fantastic as well. They're all very professional individuals. I've worked with most of them up there, so.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
What the heck? It's only money, right?
Yeah. I think it was
cheap. Pretty
$50,000.
cheap money compared to a lot of them. Okay, next one, Solutions for Life.
And they are requesting $5,000 for operations, and that is the same as last year.
And this is for the town of Glenrock? This is
The
specifically for
request is for us, yes.
for Glenrock, not for Converse County or something like
They're-
that?
They receive funds from Douglas, it says Converse County, Department of Health, Niobrara County, the town of Lusk, some from insurance and client income and Medicaid.
Says, in their deal, it says that 5,000 for the town of Glenrock helps support the Glenrock office. Says their office is currently staffed for 30 hours a week, 2 different clinicians rotating hours throughout the weeks. Increased insurance-related payments over the last year.
I know they're in town quite a bit.
I'm sure their ability to work and everything with COVID, this last year, COVID's been pretty tough.
Well, this is another pretty specific area for people that, if
That
they
need
need
the
this
help.
help, they really need this help.
The accrued PTO compensation was $41,000, and the payroll was $24,000. Year to date, I assume. What did we give them last year?
Same, 5,000.
5,000. And they got a part-time.
They have an office 30 hours a week.
They're covering 30 hours a week. That's better than some of the other ones.
Yeah.
That's not very much for,
Nope.
Better pay than we're getting.
Says who?
What, you getting something under the table I don't know about? I ain't signed you any new checks lately.
Well, should we go ahead and honor?
I'm gonna
Same thing
say
we did
yes
last
for that for right now, because they do help with
I better say yeah.
the people that need that or are special needs, need
special
assistance.
needs kids.
A couple more years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, the next one is Glenrock Housing Authority. And they're requesting $25,000 for upgrades and repairs, and that is the same as last year, the amount.
Is their building in that bad of shape right now? Physically in that bad of shape?
See Barber's Apartments. They did put in a backup generator this last year, or this coming during the summer last year.
They'll get helped out for the snow and stuff. Too.
Looks like part of it looks like they're working on something on an interior lighting. Hopefully they're looking at, this says 4-bulb fluorescent fixtures instead of LED. And if they're going to do lighting, they should be looking into the Rocky Mountain Power incentive. But they're not asking for, I know they're going to be coming to us and talking about, and it's not in here, about that parking lot deal, and that's going to be a tough one to even sell or do anything with right now.
It says their building reserve stands at $105,625, or $25,625 above what was required. So is this what would have to fix the parking lot, Bruce? Is
No,
this-
the parking lot's going to be
Separate.
Separate.
totally
It has
separate.
nothing-
It's not even in this.
This is just strictly
Because there's
the
been
building.
some stuff going on, there's been some,
Upgrades in the building.
it's all for inside projects.
It does mention the parking lot. In the second
I know
paragraph.
they've spent money with, I'm trying to think of his name, Ed Money, what's his first name?
I'm trying to remember the engineer that, and then he just walked off the project.
Yeah,
Al Hutchinson.
yeah. But one of the surveyors in Casper is tied into this and helping them do that survey and everything, because they're tied to engineering firms and something else now, because good old Howe has left Converse County holding the bag a lot here lately.
Yeah.
And we've helped them with a lot more in the past, with like redoing the decks a couple of years ago, redoing the roof, several pretty good sized projects.
I had to pull in a new water main to their building and all
Put
that.
in a new water line.
The only thing I can say is I know that Scott's kind of had a few fits with the contractors up there not coming and getting permits or getting inspections done. I remember him talking about that, so.
Well, if they have problems with their gutters, that's a pretty major problem on a building that can lead to a lot of expensive deterioration of the building.
Yeah, and they went from shingled roofs several years ago to a metal roof, so their slide off of snow and ice is really hard on their gutter system. Any building that has a steel roof, metal roof now, when it slides, it
Tore mine off.
takes your rain gutter off in a heartbeat.
But they make little things that you can put on your roof, on the roof of.
Yeah, to kind of help slow it down, but that
Slow it down.
also increases your dead
Well,
weight besides the live weight on a roof, which can also be detrimental to your roof and movement too. So there's good and bad in all of it. So
Yeah,
I know
Did that last year for them. I guess we could do it this year for them.
it's our senior housing. It's
Gotta take care of our old folks.
yeah. One of us might be living there.
Thank
You
you.
just never know.
Pretty good.
thank you, Boots.
Yeah, might need an apartment.
Stay there.
Bob might be getting a new place.
I'm going to say yes to that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
The next one is
Boys and Girls Club.
Boys and Girls Club.
Requesting $25,000 for operations. Last year requested 20. And we do need, I think, take into consideration if we're doing the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that if we're going to give money to it, I would stick with last year's appropriation of $20,000.
I would agree.
I agree. I have a question just for a second on Boys and Girls Club. Have we had to redo a bid, or are we got the brakes on this deal?
No,
Nope.
we're held up by the architects. We're waiting for the HVAC
They're close on
bids,
being
so
able to get us
they told me a week or two we're supposed to have all the plans and ready to go out.
ready to actually go
They're
to.
just getting all the interior, the
Okay, because we were
heating
talking
and
with Jared at
air
Planning and
conditioning
Zoning about it, and it sounded like they came to a little halt there for a while.
stuff. They had a few battles over it, yeah. I won't lie to you,
But
but
we're moving.
yeah, we're moving.
We are moving forward, and we should have something. We should have some numbers here for real. They're promising. We've been on them like stink on a skunk about. We need numbers for what that's going to be.
That is one item as far as just in general in the budget. I haven't added anything on the revenue side or the expenses side for that because I just don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
The
yet.
revenue side I do know, but because we will be getting money
And
from
in
the county.
that cost of the money of building that building right now, the county has in their budgets this year, and I'm sure they will carry it over for next year. Is the $750,000 at this time, and I put in their allocation stuff. I put in a request the other day to see if we can get an additional $250,000 from them, whether we get it or
For
not
the Boys and Girls Club?
for building the building. So.
Would that cover it, Bruce?
Well, it would probably, $1 million are probably going to cover about half of it.
Yikes.
That's what we were talking about in there, and I didn't know where we're going to get.
Yeah, it was the original plans that
Seemed like it went
That-
way up.
Boys and girls
was
came
brought
up
up
with.
to us by
was-
Randy was a Taj Mahal, and it was 2.9 million.
Yeah.
No,
We said no.
We can't afford
We've
that.
redesigned that building. We came up with our own drawing and we've worked with and it's, they're right on still the same square footage, but I think our price is going to come down.
Okay, we don't have a real,
Number yet.
Okay.
No, I'm waiting for
Okay.
that.
okay.
We have a tentative drawing that they're basing all this on now. As soon as we get something, we'll show it. But we haven't gotten that yet, so
Let's just stay with last year's.
I'm going to say 20 right now, especially since we're going into that,
Yeah.
because that's something that we're going to have. That's, I think, one of our projects, along with our sewer projects and other things. We'll be carrying over the money for the town square, because those guys are going to be getting started this probably later this week or next week on dirt work, if what we've been told. So hopefully that's going to start rocking and rolling, and we need to get that building, if we're going to do it, we need to get that building built at the same time the rest of it's going up, because you try to build afterwards, we got a mess.
Yep.
All of you have noticed the boring machine that was close to here. We have we're boring in conduit and setting the boxes from City Hall clear through, they're down through Town Square, and they're going up Aspen now, are they not?
They're done.
Are they done?
They finished
Yeah, done.
Aspen tonight.
They went up Aspen and they went up the
Went up
alley.
the alley behind the shop and the
behind
fire
the
hall.
shop, so there's
So-
be access for fiber going into Public Works and into
Good.
be able to tie it all back to your fire department and Public Works.
Debbie was interfering with my internet.
Doubt it. Unless I drilled through something.
Hey, Boots, I tried to get them to set a box at our alley so we could have fiber. The problem was
Cut
they're
down on the
over.
number of boxes.
We got to get Boots upgraded on internet.
AOL.
I know, AOL. I swear, she is.
Hey, Boots, what you don't have, you can't use.
You've got mail, yeah, there you go. Ooh.
That's it on allocations. I would like to visit about, it's tab number 10, it's the fire department and their
Yep.
budget request.
Yep.
We do keep that under professional services in the budget. Last year, they requested $191,750. This year, they're requesting $187,750, so it came down $4,000. They are requesting again $75,000 to purchase a training tower.
I think,
That's not included in the other numbers.
and
Last year, we visited at length, and it was a no.
Well, Douglas is building one now. They just
we have,
built one.
there's a
Got one
fire
in
ground
Casper.
in Casper, there's a fire ground in Cody, one in Riverton, there's one in Wheatland. Douglas is building one at well over $1 million. I don't think we need to build a fire ground here, or a fire tower here.
What's a fire tower?
Training.
It's
Training tower.
Oh,
What
Especially if they're going to go with
What are the agreements that they do with other people to come to other communities? I'm just curious.
Most of the other communities that have these fire grounds usually hold fire schools, and those guys are eligible to, there's a little bit of cost that covers certain things, but they go to the Wyoming Fire Academy in Riverton, they go to the Cody Fire School. Wheatland does, I think Wheatland holds a fire school now.
I think they do
Started.
too. I did talk to Casper over there, and they
And
told me that our guys can come over and use their tower
Use
anytime.
Casper's fire tower anytime. They've always made that available to us.
I think that Douglas would do that too when there's built.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's, and I just think, there are some spread out around, or spread out somewhat, but like I said, and I don't know that their $1 million and something for their fire ground includes the money they spent buying the Gizmo building, put classrooms and stuff in that.
That's
I don't know either.
that's
I
within
don't
our
know either.
county.
And I know that they went for part of that money to try to get it from the county, and that's the first one I've seen the county turn down, because all the buildings, the whole block that they own now, it's called the Douglas Converse County Fire Department. The the county commissioners have paid 100% of all their buildings.
Yikes.
What's the huge increase in building maintenance and repair?
Well, they
got projected as 89, and they're asking 25,000 for that.
they've got heaters and stuff that they need to replace. That
okay.
they haven't been taking care of things. They're not doing preventative maintenance on stuff.
And I know they talked to me, they want to do LED lighting too.
Yeah, they need. Well, they upgraded their lighting a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I thought
Spent
that was
quite
done a
little
couple
money
years
with
ago.
Hummer Wicked and didn't go to LED.
Yeah.
They didn't go to LED?
It's like, pay me now or pay me later, baby. That's what's happening.
I thought that was going to go LED.
I didn't know it
When
wasn't
they-
LED.
It's not.
I didn't know.
Says it's in there.
That's going to be pricey.
Thing is, we're gonna need to make all these people aware that you do get incentive back from Rocky Mountain Power for doing this.
We're going
I
LED.
mean, we got like
I know.
30,000 back when I did town hall.
Wow.
So, you know, it's a good incentive.
That's the first step they should be taking, is to
Yeah.
see where they can cut their
Talk
costs.
to them, because then their estimator will come in and look it over, and
Before they
you need to do this, you need to do this, this is the light you need to get, and all that. Yeah, they're great to work with.
Well, seems it's less than last year, so.
If we don't put the tower on it, we take the
And
tank.
from being sick and stuff, I did not see it in the minutes of the FSA board meeting on Monday at noon of anything else about what were projected, what they're asking the county for. But I can tell you that last month, maybe it's in here right now, just a second, if the financial is in here, just a second. I can tell you right now, as of April 12, 2021, the balance of FSA account monies in reserve, and this isn't just Glenrock, it's Glenrock, Douglas, and rural. The FSA board holds $3,579,006.77. Expenditures this last month were $71,051. I'm going to say in that $3.5 million, probably just over $1 million of it is Glenrock's. Douglas seems to be the biggest one there. When the FSA board was put together, and those guys were allowed to not, have the mentality of use it or lose it every year on their budgets. They've actually done a good job of saving money, and so they can purchase and buy trucks. They're going right now. I know that they're spending money to. They're going through air pack updates and recertifications of their air bottles and stuff was going on. They can only send so many away at a time, and there's a company in Casper does it now instead of having to send them out of state. So,
Bruce, their equipment, their trucks and that type of equipment is in pretty good shape, isn't it, basically?
most of it, they've got a couple that are coming up before too long that need replaced. They did order, I think they did finally find. We're wanting 2 5-ton militaries. I think they ended up finding that, but the Air Force down there did not turn those 2 5-tons loose. I think they ended up finding 2.5 tons.
2.5 tons.
And
Yeah.
forestry will build them. But we put under impact, what was it, just over $100,000? Right at $100,000 out of the impact funds to help cover that cost, because impact funds from the county covered money for 2 new fire stations to be built for the rural guys. So there is impact money going out there for other projects, but I told them I was not going to write them a check for $100,000 to put it in the reserves on these trucks out of the impact. They're going to bring me paid invoices for what those 2 trucks and get them fit and ready to go is what we will pay for. So that's out there, but they've done. I'm sure there's some fat in that. At least they brought it. I was surprised that they brought it down. It could probably go down a little bit more, but
Yeah, but
usually they ask close to probably Douglas usually asks close to $1 million for the county every year. Glenrock usually asks for somewhere between $300,000 and $500,000
For the fire department?
for the fire department, yes. But you've got to consider that probably over 80% of the fire, 80 to 85 or better percent of the fire calls are in the county, not in town. So that's why you see way more money, and that's why their county budgets are higher. But the amount of money that Douglas Fire gets for county firefighting and don't go do county firefighting, it irritates the hell out of me. And that's on public live streaming,
That's-
and I said it.
That's a lot of money, Bruce.
Yeah, it is a lot of money, and you know, the ones that benefited the most from the FSA was actually the rural firefighters, and they've actually been able to get better equipment, build fire halls to house their equipment and quit, you know, winter storage and drained, and you know, the number of wildland fires are still there, and it's going to pick up. Right now, because of the last big snowfall we got, this season would have been the driest season since the 1800s in the state of Wyoming. Because of this, it's the third driest, and their forecast for it is from the Forest Service is dry. Be ready, because the Forest Service is actually already drawing lines in the sand in certain areas in Wyoming, especially here in the forest up here, that where if we get any large fires, where they're going to build a fire line, stand and back burn. So there is a real concern on how dry we are right now and what's going to happen. So
I say let's do it.
I don't have a whole lot of problem with that one, but
750, right?
yeah.
It's pretty vital for our safety.
I know that Kelly and I discussed, I think we have the money for the chief and the stuff was taken out.
I did take it out, just being how revenues are so far down. We hate to hire if we're going to have to let somebody go. And
But we
that's
are,
sizable,
we're
but
also,
we could also do a resolution immediately if we get to the point where we're hiring and we're ready to go. Do a resolution.
I'm seeing from the last few fire calls that were structures, there's been some real problems on response and fire attacks. So the problem's still there, and it hasn't gotten better. So maybe it's time to pull the trigger on that and see if we can make it a little better, because it's part, you know, the county funds the lion's share of it, because they have to cover Converse County just like cities and towns. It's health, safety, and welfare of your public, so you have to fund your fire department. Actually, your funding is what's in town, not out of town. While you've seen what we've had for wildland fires here recently that have burned in towns and burnt a ton of buildings down, and the amount of acreage being burned is crazy. So
would you like me to put the salaries and all the benefits back into that?
yeah, just give it, you know, put it in, and that way we can see both ways, Kelly. Because I think I've got a feeling with the last structure fire was in Rolling Hills, and there was some problems there, and
I'll get it added back in.
the time of day that it early, you know, and unfortunately, we don't have a large number of independent contractors and people that can drop what they're doing and go fight fire. Everybody's got jobs, so you know, they've got I don't know what they're down now right now, but still the response is not great.
So Kelly, the $70,000 that was allocated for the fire chief last year has now been put back into salaries and benefits?
What I will do is add it
To
for our
that,
next meeting.
for a
We actually had 300,000 in. It was for chief and 6 paid.
Right.
so that will go back to the fire department for their people that are there
If you're
now.
going to do it, you
No,
have to.
No,
no, that would be if we
No,
hire a chief.
if you don't have them, you can't. You're wasting.
it would just be sitting there.
That's probably.
Pardon me?
It's just kind of be sitting there waiting to see what happens.
We needed more.
Please disband.
So that money would just be
You need
sitting in the
24-hour
fund,
coverage.
waiting to see what happens?
We can do
It would be a line item in the
modified
budget.
Kelly
In the budget.
rotation.
Where if we started paying someone at
And you rely on your.
It would have been allocated if we made the decision.
What we're working on and doing that is actually has been implemented in, I don't know, like 12 different communities in Texas and around the United States, and it's
Mayor
working
and
pretty
council
well.
Salaries.
Okay, now I know.
Are we up to mayor and council salaries yet?
I know, because yeah,
Just
Yeah,
so
we wanna-
everybody's
we
aware,
wanna
the
fix
last
that.
thing on my sheet that I handed out that was in the front,
In here somewhere.
projects that I don't have costs on,
Here's
we haven't received
finance
anything as
salaries.
we were told the other night from the county regarding the pathway. Those hopefully will be coming soon. He said they had, what, 30%?
They sounded like it at the council meeting. What's that should be coming?
I think he said there was 30%
I'm-
done
We got
on it.
30%.
I'm very concerned because their estimated cost to us for engineering that piece of roadway for 2 miles for $80,000, $86,000 is ridiculous for our share. I think that's why we've been requesting. We've hit HDR up numerous
This might be
times.
it.
I think they're having to give those numbers to the county before we see them.
Yeah, because usually engineers charge 10% of the project, which means that walk path would be $860,000.
Five of them.
This one didn't even cost us that. And we have lighting and everything.
So I'll be looking
Did
at
any
the
of-
numbers on
The
that.
thing I'm
what
thinking,
added.
we're gonna have, eventually there ever be lighting on that thing.
Well, the lighting, they were trying to add that to that project of running conduit and power out through there, and you can do solar lighting way cheaper for that out there.
That would work.
The other items I had listed, I will be looking at numbers for Mormon. The Boys and Girls Club building, we already talked about. At the splash park right now, I did put a page in that shows the current budget for it, specifically from the engineers. One thing we haven't added is anything for the ice rink or skate rental. And we had,
Because the cost of the system, or the town square doesn't include the synthetic ice or ice skating or ice.
and I just want everybody to think about this, mull it over for a week or so, till we have another meeting. Whether we should hire somebody part-time to help manage that as far as rentals, and possibly even managing South Rec as far as rentals, or if we want to hire somebody under contract, or if we want to try and utilize community groups to do something.
And,
It's just something to mull over.
You could do like
Tim-
a part-time seasonal
yeah, could be
town employee.
Possibly.
possibly, and if
There's
we
another
would,
thought is to do something under, like a contract, where they'd be a contract employee, to where we wouldn't have a benefit at cost.
Right, okay.
Then it brings up the issue of where they would have an office, that type of deal.
the young, you and I discussed the other day, the young lady that's doing the.
Hannah Swanbaum.
Hannah Swanbaum. Possibly she's contracted for doing stuff for the county for that program.
The ACT.
Yeah, the ACT thing.
You have to have somebody.
Possibly, we're almost going to utilize and make, once the square gets built, town square gets built, we want it to be utilized and worked and things, somebody working on that. And Tammy and I both talked about it, of maybe getting an idea of some money together for possibly, she's under contract with the county, or possibly we figure out something there of that, where she does that. She may be very interested in doing that and being a coordinator for, or not her, maybe somebody else, somebody to do some part-time work to coordinate and plan and
Events.
bring events and everything else in and use the town square.
So a town square does not have money allocated for the ice rink or that?
Not right at this point. I just went off the engineer's estimate of what's left, and we could add it in. We're going to need to.
If we do not do this
I
right now.
thought we
if
budgeted
did not-
over 4 million and the bid come in at 3 point something.
Yeah, and we've been,
We budgeted-
what we've changed for moving over there, there was a benefit because each one of those projects in the square were priced out individually through Caspar, and we've doubled the size of the splash pad and increased some of there's paving and everything else in there. And actually, the increase back from Caspar was only $407,000 for the increase for the size.
So this
they
4,021,000,
yeah,
that does not include the
it
ice?
probably would, because we're still under that, John. So that we haven't priced. We didn't price the ice at that because we didn't want that to be part of the bid. That we'd go out and look at it ourselves. So we can still go out and get a price for cover, because we didn't know this, because we have a different size basketball court now.
Yeah.
So that kind of held us to what we're going to do there. So that's something Randy can check on, the synthetic ice and skate rentals.
If we do not put the synthetic ice in right now, we could still do it in the future?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's not like the path thing out here. If we decided in a year or two we wanted to add that, it would still be able to do that without any big
It's a
expense.
system that would cover the basketball court during the wintertime.
Yeah, something we want to put in though when winter comes if it's done. You know.
So is it possible that with the money that we haven't, that if we budgeted this much, but we've only spent this much, is it possible that there would be enough money
There's
left?
more likely, I think,
Possibly.
possibly still cover all of it.
I looked at the synthetic ice, but I just didn't know how big this basketball court was going to be, so I didn't.
So we made it bigger? Or is it?
The basketball court is actually a little bit larger than what we
One
were going to
over in the corner.
revamp over here, yes.
Okay.
And I am going to make a call. I haven't done it yet. I think it was 2 years ago. City of Cheyenne put out something, I think it was through WHAM or WHAMCat, that they were selling an ice rink in total. And it was skates, like
Synthetic
all the
ice.
equipment, all of it. And I don't know, I never did see where it had sold.
I have no idea.
They'd advertised it a couple times, and I will make a call and see if they still have it, because you never know. We might luck out.
We might get a deal on that, so they're trying to unload it.
Just, we'd have to, if it's still available, is to go look and see what damage is done to their sections of their, it might be worth maybe buying their skates and whatever stuff, but depends on the condition of the lay down deal. But it's very much worth looking into. I think there's probably still enough money or really close to cover that under our estimate, our engineering bid cost, and we didn't actually have that under the engineering cost at the time for putting it out for bid, so.
I wonder
Neither was the equipment for the playgrounds, and that you've ordered that, and
That's already paid for.
that's already paid for.
We also might be able to get some donations from some of the corporations that.
Call it the One Oak Ice Arena, right?
There you go.
That might be a good place to go ask.
Yeah.
I know that got the guys that
Or the
were on
Duke
top of
Energy
the.
Ice Arena.
Yeah, well, Duke Energy says they like to give money out to nonprofits, so that might be one to go hit or talk to about maybe money towards the building for the Boys and Girls Club too.
And Council, I don't want to speak out of turn, but just to talk to that as far as, maybe think of that person as more than just like a rentals kind of person, but like the mayor was saying, kind of an event coordinator, some of what they've got for Davis Street Station. Because I know that some of this projects I'm looking at coming up, like an LED wall for the back of that stage to be able to do, movie nights and, theaters and stuff like that, and getting a sound system. That stuff's going to need somebody to schedule those events and run those events and do all that stuff. And that's not going to be able to be accomplished by, us cobbling that together, or at least very successfully. And I think that would be a pretty big benefit to if we're going to invest that kind of money into a system and a setup like that.
We need to use it. We need to utilize the town's.
You get somebody energetic and run it. I mean, you could have events there once, twice, 3 times a week throughout the summer and in the winter and stuff that somebody's coordinating. Valentine's skate night and this and that and all sorts of things that are going on that, again, if we're left to it, we might get a couple things done a year with that. But that one person, that can focus, because hours are going to be a
The other
little
thing
weird
we
for them
did talk
too,
about is some money out there, is basically like under contract too, was possibly some of the different sports organizations, but the high school, maybe some of their kids wanting to come and cover a schedule for skate rental in the wintertime and stuff too.
But that also could be handled through a employee that was going to coordinate.
Yeah,
these
somebody
things.
coordinate all that.
There's still
Plan something out.
one
Maybe it
person to
helps our-
coordinate this to make sure that the people are there and that.
Well,
type of
and that would be the person that would be on Facebook and all over our channels that would be promoting all this stuff. And I mean, that would be I think it's a pretty key position for the
I think
success
it
of
is
that.
too. It's very important for the
So that's something we're
continuing
thinking
success
about.
of it, not just
Yeah.
the start, but for the continuing over
Absolutely.
the years to
You
make it
need
run.
somebody to coordinate and take care of that.
That's right, definitely. We put too much money into it not to take good care of it.
Take care of it and utilize it and use it. I think it'll get used
Nope.
a lot, so we just need to stay on it. And
Okay, the last item
a
on
lot we
there.
didn't tell Jared when he hired on with this outfit what he'd be doing.
Yeah, secondary.
Yes.
Secondary.
that's IT's job, so.
Seems like you're related to me.
Do you skate, Jared?
Actually, that'd be a fun job.
Yeah, absolutely. Events coordinating would be pretty cool. That'll be a really awesome place to be able to bring things and events and stuff through there. It's gonna be really cool.
The last item on there is our Second Street infrastructure project with water and sewer. Still waiting for the final on that. We've got to do some arm wrestling. Ray gave me the numbers today, late, for what they were going to go to SLIB with, and that was $5 million. We do have almost $1 million coming from WWDC, but until I can pin them down and make sure this is exactly what we think we're going forward on, I don't want to put money in. I carried forward what we had left in our water capital projects, sewer and streets capital projects. It comes to about 2.5, and then with the WWDC on top of that, so you're looking at probably another $2 million that we'd need.
So the biggest problem where those numbers have been increased is a dramatic increase in plastic, PVC and plastic prices has gone through the roof. And actually, talking to him yesterday, he said there's other projects that are going on right now that other communities are doing things that they're actually going to put stuff on hold until these PVC prices cannot stay at where it's at right now. It's just unreal. They fully expect to see it turn around for hoping in the near future. So there are projects like that on the plastic prices that they're going to hold off from doing it. I don't know how long we can hold off without our Wyoming Water Development Grant money. They only give you so much time on that.
We got 5 years.
Is it 5 years? I didn't. Some of them were only like 2.
SLIB's only.
Slips. You got to use it. Yeah.
SLIB's 3.
So.
Maybe is that something to consider then?
Well, the only good thing about that is we do have the opportunity to go back to SLIB again.
Following year.
Yeah. To see if we can get more money, but it would if we could get the Second Street the project done. It puts the town of Glenrock in a really good position of infrastructure and streets being pretty good shape. And it's a project that is one of the other streets that we have just like Third Street was. It's all ductile cast iron, and we have enough leak and problems. We're going to start seeing it escalate more, just like we did Third Street and the rest of it, where those corporations are going to start causing beam fractures because of the age of the water main, and it will help us for water flow in town because we're increasing the size of the main.
Well, I'm talking with Ray. You were in there when we talked with Ray, and he says, "Go to bid. If it's outrageous, we'll hold off."
Yep.
If the bids come in really high because of the price of pipe and everything.
Mm-hmm. So that's all we can do is if we're going. You guys need to think about it. We can talk about it. We get a little more idea. We do know we do have a specific. There is kind of a close engineering ideas, but like Ray said, because of what's going on, he said some of their engineering estimates on the last couple of his projects, they've been blown out of the water. And they're usually pretty good at estimating what these jobs. But I mean,
When you go to SLIB?
January.
January.
Yeah, there was supposed to be a June meeting, but they canceled the meeting because they said they had no funding. Because we put in an application to go to June, and they called me and said, "We canceled it. We don't have any funding."
but it makes you wonder about that too, and that comes off the Permanent Mineral Trust Fund money. But the state of Wyoming's going to probably, out of this COVID stuff and all that CARES Act, probably get over $1 billion.
So, or something like that. They're going to give us.
Maybe we get our water line from the well down to town, all of that.
Well, we're looking at that too, because like we talked about Wyoming Water Development, there's several other ones out there where you can get that low interest deal, and they forgive the principal part of the cost, so the cost of it goes back down. And that project would probably be smarter to do the whole thing at once as do it in sections.
Yeah.
And we are just, knock on wood, keep your fingers crossed, because if that line breaks between here and there, we have no water flow to the town. That line needs a backup. and that's coming soon, and that's the T2 and part of the T2 and T3 project.
Yep.
That's really scary, Bruce. Jeez.
And there's two, and that's a ductile cast. That's also a ductile cast iron line,
A lot of it's in hot soil.
and it's hot soil that was wrapped. And there's 2 creek crossings.
Is there any federal money we can go after for that?
USDA, or there's a couple other ones, yeah. We've been looking at them.
That's
Low
where we've
interest
been
loans.
working on and estimate. That's where you guys are seeing more and more all the engineering costs of the T2, T3, and the T projects go clear through to like what T23.
Yeah.
It's a 15 to 20 year into the future lineup of projects that you need to take care of for infrastructure and repair and replacement.
Yeah, we had 5-year plan, and we've done everything in 2.5 years. So, if we can get this,
We're ahead of the game.
if we can get the Second Street done.
We get Second Street done, we're in really good shape, and that would help cut down some of that cost. So that's one that you may want to consider or think about, that we may have to pull, if we can't get SLIB money and stuff, we may have to pull a little out of reserve. But I think the priorities we're probably looking at, that if you're going to prioritize things, is getting the Boys and Girls Club building built in the Second Street project for sure. Now, whether or not, whatever the engineering costs come in for cutting the sandstone for that pathway out there, I think their cost is going to be outrageous, but it's something that can be, if we're going to do it at all, we're going to end up having to sign an agreement to go so far, and then we could possibly get a tap grant.
Can we go to the county and ask for allocations for the walk path, Marvin Camp?
Go ahead.
Just saying.
Why not?
I think you're going to, that to be like, you better got about a better chance of seeing God, kind of like asking for money for town square.
I like this very much.
No, I don't think they do either.
Well, it's 7:30. Do we want to go? How much longer do you want to go, guys?
It's up to everybody. If anybody needs to leave, we can. We can stop here and wait, go next week and have another session and go over the individuals, or we can keep going.
I need to get home to check on various things.
And that's fine. If you guys want, let's just pick a date for next week, what we're coming.
We go Wednesday again?
You want to go
What's
Wednesday
Wednesday's
again
like?
next week at 6 o'clock again? Does that work for everybody? And we'll try to get through we'll try to get through departments. We got through those pretty fast last year, so I think we can get
And I'll
things
have,
pretty well knocked
I'll
out.
update the numbers on the fire department and hopefully maybe have numbers on the ice and the skates.
Hopefully we,
If
we're
anybody looks
pushing.
at
Hopefully
their
hear some numbers from
calendars and has
HDR.
interference that night, let me know and we'll look at a different night.
Kelly, I won't be here next week. I'm going to be in training. I think if everybody's okay with it, though, Carrie could step in.
Did you say Wednesday the 21st?
20,
Yeah, I think it's the
Yeah.
20th.
It says court.
Oh,
We'll have court that night
That's
as well.
court, so we could meet upstairs.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
okay.
We don't have to meet down here, but we could meet upstairs, so.
okay, so next Wednesday at 6.
I appreciate everybody.
Well, thank you for
Go ahead and
working
look
with
through
them.
numbers. If you see anything sticks out, all the sheets are in there that we'll go over next week. So if you have time, just take a peek.
Is that one item, was that for the fire department in here?
Pardon me?
What page was that on? Do you remember? Was it 5 of 20?
It's your tour story, you tell it, Booth.
What, 5 of 20?
No, it's 5 of 9.
It's
Jeez.
5 of 20, I'm pretty sure.
It's 370,000 for salaries.
Look at 5 of 20.
What is it?
5025.
Maybe. Oh, maybe it's in this section. Yeah, there we go.
Page
I was in the wrong section. I apologize.
What section is it in?
5025, yes.
the salaries line,
Yeah.
that was for the fire department. That was
Okay.
last year's.
Okay.
Before I
what we
haven't
had
done
last
anything in. So those numbers aren't going to change a whole lot.
Okay.
They'll just be added in.
Just be added in.
None of it, in this year's budget, none of that's been spent.
These are going to be moved over here.
Gotcha.
Okay.
think about everything we talked about tonight, take these home, start looking at the different departments stuff, kind of study it a little bit so we can.
I tried adding notes if there was any major changes or specifics on equipment, anything like that, it'll show up right under the item as a note.
Thank everybody for your time to come in tonight.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Together.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
There you go. We didn't make a motion to start.
You're welcome.